What's going on, everyone? I'm Jeff St. Pierre, and this is episode 175 of the Adult Education Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about soccer, TikTok, and fashion with the founder of Smallside, Ryan Henrdicks. Most of the episodes of this podcast involve me speaking with someone who just published a book. Now, over the years, I've developed a strong relationship with a lot of different publishing groups, so it's easy for me to look at an upcoming release schedule, find some titles that look interesting, and then set up an interview. I've been very lucky to have that as a resource for this podcast, but I'm trying to branch out a little bit. I want to find some different topics to discuss. I mean, the whole background of this podcast is to educate myself and learn new things, so it's time that I do that. A few months back, I came across a video on TikTok of a guy talking about a new clothing brand that he decided to launch. The idea was to tap into the soccer fashion market with a goal of using the proceeds to give back to communities in the form of building small soccer spaces. Over the next few days, I saw even more videos, and I've continued to see his updates come across my feed ever since. I started to become really interested with his updates. I found myself opening up the app, excited to maybe just see something from him. But I had so many questions, like, who is this guy? Just a dude who randomly decided to launch a clothing company? One day I hit him up to see if he'd like to join the show and tell me more about it. And thankfully, he said yes. His name is Ryan Henrdicks, and he's launching a soccer brand called Smallside. You can find him on TikTok and Instagram at Smallside Co. So let's learn more about Smallside. Let me start by thanking you for your time, Ryan. I appreciate it.
No, thanks so much for the invite. Yeah, really happy to be here and chat about it.
I have been spending a lot of time with my podcast just because I have connections in the book world. I just kind of peruse through what books are coming out, look at the ones that I find interesting, and then try to schedule time with authors and have conversations. But I'm trying to branch out more into people and things that I find interesting in general. And you were the first thing that came to my mind because I came across your TikTok probably right when you started doing it. And I don't even know why the algorithm said that I should know about Smallside, but I've been on board since December, and I've been so fascinated with your whole progress and your idea and everything.
That's awesome. No, I'm glad I can be your sort of guinea pig. But it seems like fate. Yeah, if the TikTok algorithm gods want you to come my way, then happy to have you.
Yeah, and I'm happy to share your story because there is more to it than, quote unquote, just a clothing brand. Like, you want to do a lot more. But for anybody who doesn't know what Smallside is, let's first introduce you and talk a little bit about what you're doing with Smallside.
My name's Ryan, and I'm the founder of Smallside, and it is a clothing brand that is sort of aimed at, say, recreational players. I felt like there wasn't really a space or clothing brand that is trying to create an identity around people that just sort of love a sport and play it passionately, but aren't trying to be like elite athletes. They have strong community foundations. The ones who show up for their team, they, if you're in a rec league, they're the ones paying the refs. They're the people that are there first. And I wanted to create something that kind of spoke to that sort of player and fan of the sport. But I wanted it to be a little bit more than that. There is such passion in those spaces for community and like a sense of place that I thought the clothing line should be something that can support that mentality. So the goal is to have, proceeds from sales go towards creating small, micro fields or micro pitches, whatever you want to call them, turf fields in areas that don't have them, or find, unused green spaces that can be repurposed in communities that are already playing and loving the game, repurposed into a safe, accessible, playable space.
I think soccer is a good brand to get into, if brand is the right word, because I feel like I played soccer for many years of my life. I'm a soccer fan still. I feel like people who are into soccer are people that would want to get behind something like this. There are people that, philanthropic might not be the right word, but I feel like they are more involved in their communities. They're more in tune with what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I don't want to say that fans of other sports are less passionate. It's just something that I've experienced, playing soccer.
Sure.
And, kind of traveling abroad and seeing how soccer is sort of ingrained in everyday life and culture in a different way than other sports are here. And, the beauty of the sport is that, you don't need this huge complex, a full-size space, just something that where you can safely go and kick a ball around, and whether it's between two backpacks or a couple water bottles for goals. There's a simplicity to it that feels really beautiful, that I sort of wanted to explore and support.
It's kind of the only major sport where you do just need a little bit of space to play, and that's all you need. Like if you want to play basketball, yeah, but you need basketball hoops. If you want baseball, you got to have a baseball diamond. You got to have the right amount of players. But as you just said, with soccer, you put a couple bags down, that's your goal, and you're good to go. You can play on any surface. I mean, it is kind of the last really accessible sport that we have that way.
Yeah, and you can play, versions of it that when you're playing, half court basketball, yeah, like you said, you need the space, you need the hoop. But when you are playing soccer even in a really, really small space, when you're playing, you're still developing really important skills that can translate to sort of any size game that you're going to play. So, and that's, I think, one of the main differences between sort of the infrastructure that we have in the United States versus everywhere else in the world is, I think, the mentality for players is to be really, really strong and really, really fast. And you see it across many professional sports in the United States. But there's this technical element that I think is absent from the United States game that is present everywhere else. And it's just fostered by these small spaces. I think there's a need for the spaces just in general for access to the game, but I think having those spaces improves the play.
So I got to ask you, are you a clothing designer? Like, why did you think getting into the clothing business was the right thing for you? Where did this come from?
I'm not a clothing designer, by trade. It's something that I'm learning. I'm someone who I'm fascinated by fashion, but I was never, courageous enough to be bold with my fashion choices. So I think you'll see that in a lot of the pieces that come out is there's this subtlety to them, and you can call it minimalism if you want, but it's sort of this way to nod to you being a soccer fan or passionate about the game without being really flashy about it. There's not a lot of bold, intricate prints. It's really about the story of the brand and what I'm trying to create, and that's sort of where my background is, and what I'm hoping to lean on is creating pieces that tell a story and a brand that tells a story. My background is in actually storytelling as a video producer. I went to school for film and video. I work at a PBS station. So I've been telling stories for a long time, and I love it. I've loved soccer for a long time. So I felt like there was a good intersection between learning about the types of people that play in these passionate communities, and being a soccer fan, how can I support them? And I think that clothing just felt like a good fit.
Are you a company of one right now, or are you, I know it's a brand new thing. You just kind of launched this a couple of months ago, and this idea popped up a few months ago, but are you working with logo designers, or do you have that capability through your background in video?
I'm comfortable on on some of those programs like Photoshop and Illustrator, and video editing spaces, video editing platforms. So I think the technical ability. I have some sensibility when it comes to graphic design. So I'm really leaning on those skills, as they exist for me. I definitely don't want to do that forever. I am I am a company of one, but I think down the road, as I get sort of integrated into some of these really unique communities, soccer communities, and wanting to build playable spaces there, I want to lean on local artists to to create designs for the brand and help sort of create community atmosphere in the physical space. So it's not going to be me just designing T-shirts or putting logos on things. I really want to get the community to be involved, and I think there's something powerful about entering a community and letting artists showcase their work, and the profits of that work's going back to support that community.
Well, like you said, by trade, you're a storyteller. And here you are talking about how, as this grows, if it continues to grow into where we hope that it can get, that you will have local storytellers telling you about their environment, their area, their place. And I think that's a brilliant idea. I think it's wonderful to let them share the story and not a designer sort of forcing the story upon them.
It's something that you learn is just to sort of to lean in and listen
Mhm.
when you're in this field. And there's so many stories to be told, and everyone has a unique experience. And I feel like there's just a wealth of opportunity for people to showcase who they are, where they're from, and what talents they have.
I envy your position. This is a little bit, off topic, but for 20 plus years, I was doing radio broadcasting. And in so much of that, there is storytelling, but at the same time, you're taught less is more, keep it moving, keep it. So a lot of times I found myself in situations where I'm talking to people, but I'm instantly thinking about how I can transition to the next thing. Like I kind of tune them out almost because I'm already thinking about what's the next thing that I can ask them to move it forward and keep this process going? Or I'm like, oh, I can edit that out. That's not necessary. I can get rid of that. And I miss so much of the conversation. I'm thankful for this podcast actually, because it's allowed me to practice the listening skills that I need, for general day-to-day life. But it's so interesting to be like your side of things. You're really paying attention because you're trying to find the story. And I love that. Like, I love that you're trying to find the story that you're going to tell to other people. You're going to take and you're going to build to share. And I love that mindset that you have from your day-to-day work. And I'm sure that's going to be vastly helpful to what you're doing here.
Yeah, I think so. And it's a skill that you have to keep practicing and developing. But interviewing it's such an interesting piece of media. I think that not everyone gets to experience, and when you're crafting story and conducting the story, there's so many like moving pieces happening inside your brain, as you know.
Yes.
But there's so much that you can uncover and you don't expect when you're just having a simple conversation. And that's one of my favorite things of about my job is just sort of sitting down and talking to people and letting them tell their story. And um, I'm excited to see how that dynamic in this brand plays out. I think there are a lot of clothing brands like to have missions. I don't know if there are a lot of other clothing brands that sort of enter the community in the way that I'm trying to.
Mm.
I'm sure there are some that exist, but again, I'm not a clothing designer. I don't know every brand that's out there and exists. I just want to play my part and tell good stories.
What has the response been to you so far? I have some other questions I want to get into, but I'm curious now if you've been hearing from people in the community, if you've been hearing from the soccer world at all. What's the response been to this?
Yeah, the response has been really positive so far, I think. I can only go off of who leaves comments on
Yeah.
social media and sort of the DMs that I get. And I've had a couple of videos that I think did really well, and I've got a lot of positive support. I've gotten dozens and dozens of DMs of people, wanting to be involved, and I wish I could involve everyone, but that just is a really good signal to me, is that there's traction, because people, whether they want to review product or if they want to do designs or if they want to help out with marketing, I wish I could let everyone in, but all I can do is take that and use that sort of positivity and turn it into momentum and just kind of keep the thing going. Because yeah, it seems like there's a real desire for a product that gives back to community spaces that they're already using or potentially could use.
I'm curious, did you do any research in the sort of soccer fashion world before deciding to, besides just what you've experienced, what you've seen in your own life, did you dive into it to say, hey, is there room for this? Like, am I entering the right space?
Yeah, I did. The trend is sort of bringing the traditional like soccer kit or jersey um, into a fashion space. So what a brand is going to do is going to take those like prime elements of a soccer jersey and fashionify it. But I think I'm kind of going the opposite direction, or coming at it from a different way. Again, restraint was sort of the name of the game for me.
Mhm.
So what parts of a jersey can I take and implement into something that feels more relaxed and restrained, rather than just trying to recreate a jersey in a unique way. I want people to feel comfortable signaling that they're really passionate about the game, but they don't, they don't need to be, if they don't want to, like really flashy about it. So I think it's sort of a different take, and the streetwear scene is all really about hype and sort of loud graphics and bold prints. And I think that's sort of where I differ. It's not something I'm drawn to. One, and two, is something I don't think I'm talented enough to recreate. So I'm sort of playing into my strengths by being restrained and taking pieces and sort of making unique elements.
I appreciate the honesty. I think I know my limits. I know where I can stay. Yeah. Well, purely by accident, this is kind of interesting. About 6 months ago, I ran into a guy. I live in Baltimore, Maryland. I ran into a guy at a coffee shop, and we just started talking about soccer. I mean, I don't even know. I think I was wearing a shirt that had like a soccer team on it or something. And he starts telling me about his business that he recently had launched. And his goal was to take a soccer brand, but kind of create the sort of Lululemon of soccer, like high-end performance gear. And we just started talking, and this guy had been working for Nike for many years. Like, he had a fashion background, and he was talking about how soccer of all the sports has been very behind when it comes to growth and innovation when it comes to clothing. Like, there are the moments, you and I are about the same age, so you'll remember the Umbro shorts from like the 80s and 90s. There were those Adidas shoes that like literally every indoor soccer player wore back in the 90s. Like, there have been some moments where you have something that transcends just a normal soccer item, but for the most part, it's just the same stuff all rebranded with different teams on it. So it feels like there is space for something like this, especially in the soccer world.
Yeah, well, man, I have a pair of Sambas.
Sambas, that's why I couldn't think of the name of it. Sambas is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, and we sort of live in this period of nostalgia too.
Sure.
It feels like it's like never ending, and in a world where IPs that have an audience, where it's going to sell, that's why we get sequels upon sequels. It's comfortable, it's predictable. But yeah, I agree. I think there isn't something like this, and there is space for it. And I'm not trying to be the next, I'm not trying to be a Nike or a Lululemon. I think there are elements in those brands that I really like. In Lululemon, there is like a minimalist look that is really popular that I think can translate into the soccer world. And that's what I think is where those clash a little bit, is there's this minimalist trend that is really, really popular, and you don't see that in the soccer world. There's logos, and there's sponsors, and there's prints on the sleeves and on the neck and the back of the neck and on the back, and it's everywhere, and it's sort of this a lot of loud imagery. So I think there is a place for restraint.
My family did a trip to Spain and Portugal last summer to visit some friends and then just to travel a little bit. And every city we stopped in, I tried to find a store for the local football club, if you will, there. And it was like walking into madness sometimes. I mean, there were certain places I'd walk in and go, none of this is me. Like, there's not a single thing in this store that I could envision myself wearing. And there was even one place, I won't say the team, but like I walked in, I was like, I really want to get something here because this was my goal. I wanted to get a soccer themed thing from each city we stopped in, but like I ended up getting something and I'm not happy with it. I hardly ever wear it because I'm just like, it's not who I am. But the minimalist is, I think it's a brilliant mindset because, like you said, everything is like big. It feels like it's either going to be a big thing or it's going to be a jersey, and not everybody can afford a jersey because those tend to be a lot more expensive. So there is something to be said about just, here we go.
Yeah, I got a couple comments from someone saying, I want something I can wear to work.
Right.
And
yes,
like, you can't wear a jersey to work. It just doesn't fit. So that stuck with me, and I think, yeah, there's a place where you can just have little subtle nods to the game, so you can like wear your passion on your sleeve, literally, without being really flashy about it. I mean, what I'm wearing now, this sample just came in. It's just like a black crew neck, but it's like a tonal black on black embroidery, so it's very subtle, and it's something that you could wear, out in the office, and no one would know that it's like soccer apparel unless you were up close and talking to them about it. So it's I like that.
TikTok is where I found you, and TikTok has been a large piece of where you've been sharing your story and spreading your message. It's at Smallside Co, right? on TikTok?
Correct.
Okay, just want to make sure
Yep.
we get that at Smallside Co. Okay, so you've been giving updates, and I've been seeing those updates. How is the process going? I mean, where are you at? Are you nearing a point where you're feeling comfortable trying to sell something? Like, where are you at right now?
Yeah, I'm really close. You caught me on a good day because yeah, today
Good.
I got in I think 7 or 8 pieces for me to look at samples, and I wanted to make sure that the print was good, the fabric was good, and the quality is where I want it to be. So now what's left is for me to sort of take really nice photos of everything and work on some fun video creative. Um, I've got my websites about 85% done. So once I am able to like kind of put the really good art into it, I'm looking at a launch pretty quickly, I think.
That's awesome. When you talk about samples, forgive my, not knowing how the fashion world works. Are you like entering into a partnership with a printer? Like, do you have to buy each sample individually? Because I know when you're trying to print something, buying one is a lot less cost effective than buying, say, 500. So, how does that work with the sample? How does that whole process work for you?
Yeah, it is about sort of relationship building. You have to be very specific about what the design is, what the measurements are. You want that sample to come in clean. Otherwise, it's kind of a long process going back and forth. Manufacturing and shipping can take a long time. So anything that needs to be changed just adds weeks
Mm.
onto your lead time. Patience is sort of the name of the game, and it's really really hard when all I want to do is like hit that live button and let people start buying. But it's you need to make a good first impression. So it's the waiting is the hardest part. It's painful, but it's so necessary.
I commend you for finding the time for all of this because our lives feel very similar. I had worked in media for a long time. My wife is also in education, and I have a 5-year-old daughter. So I feel your life is very similar, and I feel what you must be going through to then also have this project that you just decided to do, and now you're dedicating a lot of time to. I mean, I commend you for being able to pull this all together.
I don't know what it is. It's this inability to to be content or sit still. Who knows what it is, but maybe I'm kind of looking at the next 20, 30 years of my life and making sure that I want to do something that is meaningful and leave some sort of legacy. And it's hard work, but it's fun, and I think that's the most important part. If I wasn't passionate about it, I wouldn't be doing it. So I think there's merit in going after what you're passionate about, despite the many hours it adds to your workday. And but as long as happiness is near, then I'm really thrilled to be doing it.
When I was doing radio full time, I'll tell you, the one thing I did not want to do when my day was over was talk anymore. And as someone who is editing video and putting things together, I can't even imagine then having to go home and be like, well, I got to make a video now to talk about. Like, I'd be like, no, I'm out. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, it's and I give it up to content creators.
Oh,
This is
yes.
like something new for me. I'm always behind the camera, and the energy it takes to put yourself in front of camera and come up with something new like multiple times a week is really draining. And if I didn't have to do that part of this whole endeavor, I think it would be a lot easier. But it's just like the name of the game. You have to do
Yeah.
it today.
How else are you going to get the message out there? I mean, social media, as you know, many things we can say that are negative about it, like it is the best free advertising you can find out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know your ultimate goal with Smallside is to be able to give back to communities. I also know you are brand new and we haven't even put anything up for sale yet. We haven't got anything out officially. What is it going to take for you to be able to give back? Like, what's your plan? What are you thinking? Timeline, maybe that might not be the right question, but what is it going to take for you to be able to make that goal come to life?
Like a number?
I mean, I don't even know if that's the right question because it's so brand new for you. I don't even know if you've explored how much that would even take to make happen. But like, I don't know. I guess what does success look for you?
There are a lot of variables, and it depends where I'd like to build these spaces. But I guess I'll throw out a number. I think I think 50 grand is a number that I think can build a really great space. Maybe it can be done for less money, maybe more, but that's sort of the benchmark I'm trying to hit for a community space. And, I think success is just at this point getting one done.
Yeah. Getting it out there.
So
Yeah.
getting it out there, and there are a lot of things that will happen. I think after that is, one, it's a proof of concept. I'll have impact in a community space, which is sort of the ultimate goal. And I'll learn a lot about the process of what it takes to build those types of spaces. So I think the results will then begin to compound, and I'll be able to tell people this is what happens when you purchase Smallside.
Yeah, I mean, the first one is going to be the tough one, right? Because that's going to be the learning experience that you have to take to then go on and hopefully do more after that.
Yeah, and I love to get to a place where I think we can do 10 fields a year. I think that's
That'd be
a
great.
goal of mine. And it's a ways away, but one step at a time.
Well, listen, Ryan, if I can ever help you spread the word or assist you in any way, I would love to be able to do that for you, because I love this goal. I think it's exciting what you're doing from one dad to another, just kind of deciding one day you're going to start doing this. I love it. I love the energy and the passion that you have for this project that you've put together. It's not just, trying to build some projects around the house. You are trying to launch a brand that could literally change people's lives in communities that need that extra support.
I appreciate that. God, I wish I were more handy and I could just put that energy into my around the house. But this is what I know how to do. So if there are some people and kids that have a new place to play, that feels safe and is easy to get to, I think that's worth all the effort.
Ryan, where do people go? They want to find out more about Smallside. They want to follow the journey. Where are the best places to go?
Yeah, so you can follow me on TikTok at SmallsideCo, and you can follow me on Instagram at SmallsideCo. And hopefully in a few weeks, you can go to smallside.co and make your first Smallside purchase.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait to get my hands on someone from Smallside and continue to help this story grow. I'm so impressed with you. I remember the first video I saw, I was like, okay, this is interesting. I'm going to drop him a follow because I want to see where this goes. And I'll be honest, you came out with lofty goals right from the beginning that I wasn't sure I'd still be seeing your videos in January. And here we are. We're like 4 months in, 3 months in, whatever it is now, and you're continuing and you're nearing an official launch. And I'm so proud of you. I love it.
No, I appreciate that, and thanks for following the journey and inviting me on the show and help being able to spread the word.
I hope a few new ears hear about Smallside and decide to follow your journey as well. Big thank you to Ryan Henrdicks for joining me to talk more about his project with Smallside. Again, you can find him on TikTok and Instagram. It's at SmallsideCo. At the time that I'm launching this episode, I just checked to see if his website is up and running, and it is not yet, but I'm sure some news will be coming soon. And thank you to all of you for listening. Until next time, be well.